Tim Linder here. Let's talk about actions in batch processing, something that you can have Photoshop do for you to alleviate the process of having to do something over and over and over. So let me give you an example. I'm going to open up a file here and I'm going to create an action for it. So I'm duplicating this. I'm going to open up a file. Now, one of the things that you want to be careful of when you do something like this is that you can accidentally save over, in both batch processing and actions, save over an original file that you and lose your original. So I could change even a folder of 1,000 photos I might have taken. I might accidentally point it in a batch process to that folder and change them all to black and white, and then it's saved over my originals. So if you get into actions or batch, make sure that you know what you're doing, and or I usually make a duplicate of the folder before I go through. I may come out with 2 copies of the original and 1 of the changed, but it's better than no copies of the original and 1 of the changed where I don't have all my originals. So again, something that you can do that you're going to do over and over, go over again. So let's say that I've given the task, I've got this folder, and I got to make icons of these that are all, I don't know, square, at the same size, images in black and white. So I can go create this sort of action over here. I've created a folder to keep my actions in. So if I wanted to create a new folder, I could click on this icon, but I've got my own folder. There's default actions that you can choose from, like, oh, I want to add a vignette or different toning or whatever it might be, save as Photoshop. You can use these, but boy, and you can download other actions and save other actions and import actions and load actions from other places. Just this sort of processes of things, but I don't have a lot of great, luck with them. A lot of times, maybe this one says type, it's got to have a type layer in it. So if I were to play this action, I'm probably going to get some sort of an error because it's going to tell me, oh, where's my type layer? Let's see what happens as I create this, cast shadows on this layer, on this image, going through the process. It's just got a list of things that it's doing. And if I were to cascade this open, which I will here in a minute when this process is done, and we can see all the things that it's going through and doing to this image in order to create this. Okay, so didn't really look like much. Didn't really anything happen. Again, that goes to show my point that they don't always work as advertised. And again, you could probably go out on the web and find out exactly what this does and exactly how to get it to work. And my guess is I probably should have used a type layer. It's got type in brackets in order to get this cast shadow on that layer. But anyway. Again, these are something that I use a lot. I do, however, create my own and use this fairly often for things that I do over and over and over again. So under this folder right here, I've got a little action that I've created where I just, maybe I want to, I've got really high res images and I want to make sure I just like be able to quickly save them as a JPEG or something. On this action, let's say I want to create a new action. I'm going to click on this little button and I'm going to create a new action. I probably want to label it something descriptive like, okay, I'm going to change this to black and white and it's going to be a square icon that I'm creating, right? It's going to go into the tin set folder. I can give it a quick key function if I want to, or a color, don't really matter. I'm going to hit record. Right now, it's recording everything I do. Not necessarily where my cursor moves and like just kind of an overall movie of what's happening, but it's going to start adding down here any processes that I create. So if I were to go to image, adjust, black and white, and I create a black and white here, notice it creates a black and white with these settings. Still recording, by the way. And if I were to go over and get my crop tool and I say, okay, I want a 1:1 square crop, and I'm going to checkbox that. Now it says, oh, 1:1 square crop is what's going to create. And then I can go to image size, and let's say, okay, I want to create some sort of an icon. I want to make sure it's 200 pixels by 200 pixels. And now I've got this little icon that's created. Again, down here, image size. And lastly, you can even create saves inside of your action. So let's say I want to go to File, Save, and I'm saving my document. I'm going to put it on the desktop. I'm going to save it as a copy, and I'm going to hit here, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG, and put it on my desktop and choose Save, 8, Quality. Okay, all of that is part of this action that I've created. I'm going to hit stop, and now I see on my desktop that that's done, but I could open up any other image if I want to. I'm gonna not save that, and I'm gonna open up some other image here. Open this up. And if I go here to the top and I say, okay, give me that action, play it forward here, it's going to do all the same things to this image. I'm going to hit play, and there it is. There is my image. And if I go out in the desktop, I'm going to find that I've got a copy of that on the desktop as well. So that would be actions. Now, you can also do this to an entire folder of things with a batch process. So even if I don't have an image open and I wanted to go to File, Automate, Batch, I could go inside of the Tim's action folder there. I could find my black and white square icon action that I just did. I could point it toward a folder if I go out to the desktop action. This is where you got to be careful. I could select an entire folder here for this batch processing. It's got 3 images in there. I'm going to choose that folder. I'm going to override any action open commands. There aren't any open in there. I'm going to suppress any warning dialogues that I've got. My destination can be to save and close if I wanted to, or I could put this in a different folder. I could say, okay, these are my changed versions. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'll call this black and white icons, and I'm going to put this on the desktop. That's where all of these, I'm going to be copying them, creating an action on all of these in this folder and putting them in a new folder right here. I can override action save as commands. And so I usually get a little bit confused with this and have to read the little dialog box here, and it says, I'll roll back over it. Override save as action steps with destination specific here. So if I click on this, it says when this option is on, files will be saved to the destination folder only by save as steps in the action. If there's no save as or save steps, no actions will be saved. I do have a save as in this action, so I want to have that checked. And so as I'm finished with this, I can also name, give it extension and names and those sort of things if I wanted to, and I could choose OK. And it's going to open up all of those images in that dialog box. It's done it so fast I didn't really see it happen, and there are all of my icons created in the folder that I just created on my desktop with a batch process. So that is actions and batch processes that could probably save you a lot of time if you're just doing something over and over and over again.